increasing stakeholder value with beneficial ESG programs. ESG continues to be a very fast-moving and very dynamic space. I think what we're seeing at the moment is some formalisation of accounting standards. People basically getting an understanding of this sort of wave of ESG that we've all expected for a few years is now starting to land. And I think more and more people are understanding it and seeing its value and certainly seeing the benefits of engaging early in meaningful and respectable programs around ESG. And as I say, the formalisation of standards has really helped companies look at ways in which it can improve performance, whether they're listed, non-listed, in whichever field they're in. A lot of people are still sort of wondering what ESG is, how it affects them as a business. I think we've moved past the phase of no one really understanding what the acronym environmental, social and governance is. And most people will have a basic understanding of ESG as an industry. And I think there's an understanding that it can be used for good. And it's a great way to sort of formalise any policies and documentation a company has that looks towards the future performance of a company and ways in which we can not only benefit our shareholders, stakeholders, but certainly the planet in general. Being a West Perth-based company, we initially started with a lot of explorers, a lot of mining companies, but what we've seen over the last 6 to 12 months is it's diversified away from mining only. But what we're now starting to see is, as I say, tech, biotech, and other industries of listed companies. But a big shift has been probably in the last 3 months. So from July, August 2023, a lot of non-listed companies that are on supply chains up into big companies or into government are seeing ESG as a way of really sort of solidifying their supply chain and making sure they can continue to access tendering opportunities as well as staying in the game when it comes to tendering for big jobs. ESG has absolutely become a must-have when it comes to for tendering to contracts, tendering for contracts for listed and non-listed clients. Certainly the non-listed space, we're seeing a huge push up the supply chain to be able to access those sort of larger clients, larger companies and government. And then in terms of the listed space, when it comes to accessing capital, as companies are getting bigger and their needs are becoming a bit more complicated, ESG is often the first or second question asked. We've seen a big push now with some of our sort of larger clients really use ESG as a great way to access the sort of Northern Hemisphere investors, large Australian super funds, and certainly, coming out of Asia now, Singapore, etc. It's a real must-have for a lot of these corporate houses and brokers. And what we're seeing now is, especially our larger clients, they're really using ESG as a competitive advantage to access these funds. ESG continues to grow and continues to formalise, and I think what we're really pleased about at Parvate is we're seeing it an opportunity for companies to know what they're doing and be able to sort of execute some really good strategies around ESG now that the standards and expectations are quite well fit and quite well fixed. So what I see next is just basically ESG still got a few years of development, and I think before too long, maybe 3 to 5 years, it'll be business as usual, and people will be sort of just doing as per normal business. But I think over the next few years we might have a phase in which it can be a bit complicated, can be a bit confusing, and those that are first movers will have a huge competitive advantage on the market.